Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll look at how same-sex marriage will impact Arizona's legal landscape. We'll hear about an agreement between Phoenix and Tucson to store excess Colorado River water, and ASU Gamage turns 50 this year. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. How will same-sex marriage impact legal issues ranging from Arizona's parenting and adoption laws to healthcare decisions and divorce procedures? Here now is Dan Barr, an attorney with Perkins Coie. Barr represented a gay couple in a recent legal fight. Good to have you here. Always
Thanks
a pleasure.
for having me.
You're the go-to guy for stuff like this, I hope. As far as the legal, how much does change?
Well, I mean, gay couples now will have the same opportunities to get into marriage and to go through life as a married couple, and some may get divorced that heterosexual couples have.
And as far as let's talk about let's talk about divorces then. Same-sex divorces. How would they differ now in terms of alimony, spousal support, these sorts of things?
Well, they'll just be the same as heterosexual couples. And in fact, I mean, same-sex couples now, when they separate, will have the same rights as heterosexual couples in getting divorced, and have the same structure that the courts provide for people when they're separating their assets, and child support issues and spousal support issues that heterosexual couples enjoy, that gay couples will now have that advantage.
But isn't length of a marriage often a factor in those decisions?
Absolutely. And what happens in some states that have recognized same-sex marriage, they take into account if the couple has been, say, together for 20 years before same-sex marriage was recognized. I mean, Arizona will have to choose its own path there, but that's the path other states have chosen.
How will Arizona choose that path? Is that a legislative deal? Is that judiciary?
Well, the legislature can do it. What's happened in the other states has sort of been a common law where the courts take that into account, along with the many other factors that they take into account.
Okay. Parenting laws. Are same-sex couples automatically deemed legal parents at the moment of birth as heterosexual couples?
Yes, they'll have the same presumption of parentage at the moment of birth as heterosexual couples. One of the issues that'll come into play is, say, if you have a same-sex couple where one of the members have adopted a child. Let's say they've been a family for 5 years. You'll now have the other spouse being able to sort of adopt as a step-parent, and that'll be much easier. And they'll both have rights now, as opposed to, as it was before, only one of the members of the couple would have parental rights.
Much easier for the same-sex couples. Is it relatively similar now to heterosexual couples?
Yes.
Okay, so basically the same thing.
It'll be the same thing.
Our adoption laws and procedures. Talk to us there, because I know that Arizona state law does have certain aspects that...
Well, the Arizona state law gives preference to a married couple over a single person. And the statute reads a married couple, and it says a man and a woman would have preference over a single person. And again, the experience in other states is that the courts will read that to say, well, the preference here is between married people and single people adopting, and not between a married heterosexual couple and a married gay couple. And if the courts were to interpret it the first way, saying it's a difference between married people and single people, that would be perfectly fine. If the interpretation is between married heterosexual people having preference over married homosexual people, then that would be a problem, and that would probably get stricken down under the Ninth Circuit opinion from a few weeks ago.
I was going to say that preference sounds like it's a challenge waiting to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's happened in states that have already recognized same-sex marriage is you've had several things happen. You've had either the courts decide, well, we'll interpret this statute so it makes sense and differentiate between married people and unmarried people, but where it becomes a problem, either the legislature could step in and actually fix the laws so there is no ambiguity there, or if that doesn't happen, the courts are going to have to step in and deal with the problem.
Healthcare decisions, same-sex couples, how does that differ now, or does it differ from heterosexual couples?
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't differ. You're going to have the issue of if your spouse is incapacitated, that you're going to be able to make healthcare decisions for them that they couldn't exist before with same-sex couples.
Death decisions, same thing?
Absolutely.
So if a family of one member, let's say they disapprove of the marriage, disapprove of the whole thing, they can't
That
come.
thing happens with heterosexual couples too.
It does happen. Yes, it does, with some frequency. But as far as same-sex couple, they disapprove, never recognize this. Doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. It's the spouse is going to have that decision making, and various federal benefits will come into play as well. I mean, under the Windsor decision, it struck down the Defense of Marriage Act, but there were still some benefits, federal benefits, that were tied to the state where you were living at the time, and not the state where you got married. And so, for instance, some survivor benefits for Social Security or for military families, couples will now gay couples will be able to get those benefits that they couldn't get before.
And that brings up an interesting question. Let's say you got married somewhere where a gay marriage was legal 3 years ago, 2 years ago. You're now in Arizona. Does that mean your marriage in Arizona starts now, or have you been married for 3 years?
Well, I mean, I think the courts will decide that. I mean, that's an interesting issue. I mean, I think you're going to say that you've been married for 3 years and Arizona is only now recognizing it. But I mean, one of the things that Arizona couples will now be able to do is file a joint return under Arizona tax laws, as well as federal tax laws. For the past year, they've had to file a joint return under the federal tax laws, and then had to file a separate return under Arizona and calculate their taxes differently.
Workplace discrimination. Talk to us about that.
Well, that's where the Ninth Circuit decision of 2 weeks ago in the Lotta case is so crucial. I mean, the Ninth Circuit did more than the other federal circuit courts in striking down the same-sex marriage ban. In the other courts, in the Supreme Court decisions, they held that the same-sex provisions failed under the rational basis test, is that the state couldn't meet any sort of rational explanation for this. The Ninth Circuit went further and said, if you're going to discriminate against people based on their sexual orientation, you have to meet a heightened scrutiny standard, which is raising the standard of proof that the state has to meet. And that is important not so much for the same-sex marriage provisions, but for any provision that discriminates against people based on sexual orientation. So for the workplace, or housing, or dealing with the government in any sort of way, the Lotta case is going to be key in striking down those provisions.
So that Arizona law, the lack of Arizona laws defending or prohibiting discrimination, that comes into play here?
Well, absolutely. If there is workplace discrimination going on against gay people, they're going to be able to rely on the Lotta decision and other federal decisions to say that this is discriminatory.
Some quick questions here. Do churches have to perform, must they perform a same-sex wedding if asked?
No. Churches, I mean, if there is a church that doesn't want to recognize same-sex marriage, they don't have to perform it. Marriage is a civil right, and it has to do with the state granting you a license, and then you can go wherever to get married.
Can bakers and photographers, you knew this was going to happen here, can bakers and photographers say, I don't believe in this, you've asked me to work this wedding, I'm not going to do it?
I think in the long run, it's not going to be the smartest business decision in the world, because you're deciding that you're not going to serve 6 to 7% of your clientele, and your competitors will gladly take their business. So I think in the long run, just like it happened with the civil rights movement in the South, it becomes bad business to discriminate against people.
Bad business, but still legal?
Well, I mean, that's going to be a situation of whether under federal law that you can do that or not. People can bring discrimination claims against people who do that, who don't do business, who are running a business of public accommodation and deciding, I won't do business with you because you're gay, or because you're black, or because you have red hair, or whatever. But I think the economic impetus will be so strong that you're not going to be seeing many people doing that.
And bottom line then, when religious beliefs clash with the client. How does that play out, again, legally?
Well, I mean, we had the Hobby Lobby decision last
Yes.
year, which has to do with closely held corporations, and the court had limited it to that, although those are many of the businesses in this country. I don't think you would see the same result of the publicly held corporation. But that's where the rubber hits the road. And if you're running, say, a hotel, which is a place of public accommodation, and you're saying there's no room in the inn for you, that's going to be a problem under federal housing laws and the like. So, I mean, I think we're going to see how that plays out. But I think the discriminating against people based on your religion is going to be something that people are going to trot out, but ultimately is not going to be very successful in the courts.
All right, busy times. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Sustainability looks at a water storage agreement between Phoenix and Tucson involving excess Colorado River water. Here to talk about the deal is ASU Associate Professor Dave White, who heads ASU's Decision Center for a Desert City and studies water management issues. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, explain this agreement between Phoenix and Tucson, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, so the essence of the agreement is that Phoenix is going to provide excess Colorado River water to the city of Tucson. And the city of Tucson is going to bank that water in their underground storage aquifer. Then, in times of shortage in future years, the city of Phoenix will be able to receive Tucson's share of that Colorado River water in future years.
Why Tucson?
Well, it really makes sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, it maximizes the utilization of our existing infrastructure. Right? So it takes advantage of the fact that we have the Central Arizona Project Canal that connects Phoenix and Tucson. That Tucson has an extensive system for groundwater storage and recovery, more so than Phoenix. And that Phoenix currently is not utilizing its full share of its allocation of the Colorado River.
I was going to ask, how much excess Colorado River water does Phoenix have?
Well, it's surprising to many people that Phoenix, the city of Phoenix, utilizes only about 2/3 of the water that we have the rights to with our subcontracts from the Central Arizona Project of Colorado River water.
So what's happening to that water now?
Well, what's happening to that other water is we essentially lease it back to the Central Arizona Project and it goes to other uses. So instead of municipal and industrial uses within the city of Phoenix, the CAP will reallocate that water to other users, maybe agricultural users, potentially other cities. So this allows Phoenix to utilize its full allocation, but save that water in the Tucson aquifer.
Is none of this water right now being saved in any aquifers or underground storage capabilities in Phoenix?
That's a good question. We are doing that. We are taking some of the current excess excess Colorado River water and storing that through recharge facilities within the Central Arizona region. The challenge is we simply don't have the capacity and the infrastructure to withdraw that water into the future. So this allows us to store it in a place where the infrastructure makes sense.
So, and again, this is a kind of a basic question for you, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does the water, are we just pumping the water down there and they're pumping it in the ground? I mean, when we want it, do they just pump it back up? Do you put it in trucks? How does the water come and go?
Right, that's a good question. So actually we're taking advantage of the existing canal. So the Central Arizona Project Canal comes from the Colorado River near Lake Havasu, 340 miles across the desert to Phoenix, and then continues 120 miles down to Tucson. So we will just continue to pump that water through Tucson or through Phoenix down to Tucson. They'll store it in their aquifers. Now, we don't ever pump that same physical water back up.
Right.
We get their credits to the Colorado River water that they're entitled to, so we take some of their allocation in the future.
And that water, it is logistically, you can pump that water back up from Tucson to Phoenix.
We never pump it back up. We never pump it back up. It's the physical water stays in the Tucson aquifer. In future years, we don't pump as much down to Tucson from the Colorado River.
Well, but you may not pump as much down there, but you still have pumped a lot in the preceding years.
Right.
Is Tucson now just?
Tucson stores that water in the aquifer, and they utilize that pumped groundwater instead of surface water.
Okay, now I got a little
Right?
shell game kind of happening.
Yeah, and it is, and it's really, for many people, they have to understand that we actually have a system in Arizona of wet water and paper water. So there's an accounting system that goes on top of the physical water. And this is a way to take advantage of that accounting system to both cities' advantage.
Well, and let's talk about Tucson. What's in it for Tucson here?
What's in it for Tucson is the excess Colorado River water from Phoenix will recharge their aquifer and raise the level of the groundwater supply. That makes it cheaper and easier for them to pump that groundwater out. They already have the extensive groundwater pumping network in place, more so than Phoenix, because they were dependent on groundwater for a much longer period of time relative to Phoenix due to our more diverse surface water supplies. We have access to the Salt and Verde River systems here in central Arizona, whereas Tucson had been relying predominantly on groundwater in historical times. So they developed more storage and pumping capacity.
As far as the deal is concerned, how did this deal come about? And did the feds have to play a part in this at all?
Well, this is a really important point as well, and I want to laud the leadership here of both Mayor Stanton in Phoenix and Mayor Rothschild in Tucson, as well as the respective heads of the water services departments in the cities, such as Catherine Sorensen here in Phoenix, because this is an example of a creative institutional arrangement that was brought about by leadership. And this has been discussed going back as early as the 2011 Phoenix Water Management Plan. So the idea has been around, and it's really somewhat the crisis of the drought that has given a window of opportunity for creative solutions, and then you add leaders who are willing to step forward and take opportunity and turn that into innovation.
But again, the feds didn't get in the way of this. There are not too many concerns.
I would say our leaders within the cities had to work with the Central Arizona Project, the Bureau of Reclamation, and all the variety of stakeholders involved in this. And so there was nudging, there was arm twisting, there were a variety of different kinds of conversations to allow this to happen. And as Mayor Stanton has said, look, a lot of people are going to talk about water in the West. The cities are the ones who have to deal with the challenges, and it's their time to act.
And let's talk about those challenges. How big a deal is this to the future of Phoenix's water needs?
It is an important example of a kind of innovation in policy making and in institutional cooperation. It's a pilot project for now, so there's going to be a phase where there's about 850 acre feet of water, which an acre foot is about 320-something thousand gallons of water. Okay. So in the first few years, it'll be relatively modest compared to the large volumes of water that we're dealing with. And if that program is successful, it'll expand in future years. And what we see here is we see innovation brought about by political leadership. And this program is an example of how we need to move forward in water resource management.
Is Phoenix going to help Tucson perhaps expand storage facilities down there, capabilities?
Yes, it's possible. So the financial arrangements are being worked out in terms of how the agreement is going to be paid for. Mostly it will be paid for by refinancing bonds within the city of Phoenix at lower rates and by the deferred costs of not having to build all that new infrastructure. In the 2011 management plan, they discussed this possibility and put a rough estimate and probably a low estimate of $250 million, $250 million to develop the capacity in groundwater pumping and to deal with all of the water that we've been storing. So we're not having to pay that cost now by using this arrangement.
Interesting. Real quickly, when does this deal start?
The deal is underway, and so we're already working out the agreement, and the water will start flowing soon.
So we're already pumping paper down there to Tucson.
We're pumping paper right now.
All right. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ted.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Tonight's Arizona Art Beat features ASU Gamage, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Scott Olson show us how an ambitious idea became an Arizona icon.
As the story goes, Grady Gamage, then president of ASU, had a dream. His good friend and architect, Frank Lloyd Wright, had a plan. And together, they built Gamage Auditorium. Grady Gamage Jr. turned the first shovel of dirt on the site near Apachean Mill and says his dad had a very lofty reason for wanting the auditorium.
And I think he felt that it was critical to have both a place where the students could come together and could do performances and could kind of celebrate the life of the university, and a place where the community from outside ASU could come and interact with the university. And I think he saw this building as a linchpin in those relationships.
The circular building that some say resembles a birthday cake was an ambitious design by Wright, but a recycled one.
Back in his office, he had this design he had done for an opera house in Baghdad, which was to go on an island in one of the rivers. I don't know whether it was the Tigris or the Euphrates, but one of the rivers, with arms going to each bank. So, and Wright's a smart guy. He's thinking, I have a plan that I think I can adapt a little bit and use at that spot in Tempe.
Sadly, both Wright and Gamage passed away before construction began in the early 60s. Gamage's widow, Catherine, worked tirelessly to keep his dream going. Wright's protege, John Rattenbury, took over. Rattenbury says while Gamage is stunning to look at, its greatest feat is the pitch-perfect acoustics inside.
That's kind of a miracle in a way, because when we build an auditorium today, we have all sorts of equipment. They make models and they have tiny microphones and they go through all of this adjusting. None of that happened for the Gamage Auditorium.
Rattenbury recalls opening night at Gamage. Conductor Eugene Ormandy and the Philadelphia Orchestra had just finished, and Ormandy addressed the audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you. And I'd like to say that this is the second best hall we've ever performed in. And there was kind of a silence. And then he smiled and he said, if I told the truth, they'd throw me out of my own hall.
Part of what makes the acoustics so terrific is the balconies are not anchored to the back wall, so sound travels under and then over the audience. It's an engineering marvel, and as a result, performers love Gamage. Colleen Jennings Rogensock is the creative force behind Gamage. Under her leadership, Gamage has hosted countless musical acts, presidential debates, and the state funeral for Senator Barry Goldwater. Her greatest achievement, perhaps, is the popular Broadway series.
Well, I will tell you, one of the things that's so amazing about determining and curating what a season looks like is a lot of it is alchemy. Like, I don't have like this formula in my head. It's alchemy. And Gamage is a force. It's living and it's breathing. And if you say Gamage, people's eyes light up and they remember their first date, or they remember coming here with their grandmother.
The theater is held up by 50 pillars and is designed as a giant circle with 2 pedestrian bridges that branch off to the parking lot. The circle motif continues from the architectural details to the carpet design, which was taken from a tie in Wright's closet. Gamage stands 8 stories tall and took 25 months to build at a cost of nearly $2.5 million. It seats 3,000. Grady Gamage Jr. says he loves to sit in the grand tier, but the place closest to his heart.
The VIP gallery out here is named after my mom, and that's my favorite spot.
And 50 years later, Grady Gamage Jr. says his dad would be thrilled that the auditorium that bears his name has stood the test of time.
I think he would be enormously pleased that this long after it was built, this building remains such a vital piece of the university and the community, and such a representation of the relationship between the university and the community. He couldn't have a better monument, I don't think, that would make him feel any better.
ASU Gamage's upcoming Broadway season includes Chicago, Phantom of the Opera, and the Book of Mormon. Tickets are available at asugamage.com. Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll find out why Arizona's export market is showing a decline while the nation's export rate has increased. And we'll hear about the Arizona musician who wrote the classic song, Ghost Riders in the Sky. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.